Good
seem
to
like
go,
they're
guys.
racing that hard.
Awesome.
I think the All-Star break, they're just like,
I figure I guess they were saying if we can give them 4 days off instead of 3 or whatever it is, go for it.
Yeah.
Coach, if you want to start with a couple of quick comments, and then we'll just round table questions.
You know, I didn't think about opening comments for this group. You know, I haven't
Alright.
prepared for the main stage. But, no, I think going into year 3, there's a lot more routine and foundation in our program. It doesn't mean there's been a lot of continuity. We've obviously had staff changes and players transfer and all that. But the foundation of the program, the core values by which we operate on a daily basis, how we do things is set. And so look forward to continue to watch growth happen within our football team, whether that's been the younger players or the transfer players. We're getting to the point where we can say this is how we do it around here, and that's good for us moving forward. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Eli, is there, I guess it changes so much, the standards maybe because rosters are changing over so much more, but is there a certain look a program should have in year 3 that should, hey, this is the expectation now, this is how this should be, not necessarily the results, but
yeah, I mean,
different than year 1 and 2?
Yeah, I think there should be a standard and a culture set kind of implemented, and culture's not what you say, it's what you do on a daily basis. And I think there's a better understanding of how I'm going to react to situations, whether it's player discipline or player development. And I think the players have a better feel for who I am and what my expectations are around the building. And same thing with our staff, whether it's the recruiting staff or assistant coaches. There's a consistency and a continuity of how we operate.
Kind of along those lines, you've spoken a fair amount over the last couple of years about, you know, it's a process. It takes time to build what you want to build. Where do you feel like you're at in that process?
Year 3. I don't know that you can. I don't know that there's always necessarily a timetable or in college football like we've got to be here by this spot. You know, I think going to back-to-back bowl games in our first 2 seasons. I think there's only 2 coaches in school history in their first 2 years that have been able to do that. So I think that's a huge step in the right direction while also recruiting at a high level, while also developing our players, while also implementing schemes, while also making mistakes and having to fix those mistakes. And so I think that process is in full swing. You know, and I'm not shy about saying this. I say this to our team. We are the most talented that we've been since I've been there, but we also have the most challenging schedule we've had since we've been there too. And so you combine those 2 things. I'm not sure what the result will be, but I am confident in our ability to compete in this league because of the depth and because of the talent that we have.
Is there a number of wins in your head you need to hit for the year to be a success, or is it something else?
I don't know yet. There's not going into it yet. You know, I think each team has got to define itself in fall camp. You know, it's in the past, I think programs were kind of designed and defined through spring and through mat drills and all that. But with the transfer portal and the changes, your team is really going to be forged through fall camp, through summer, through fall camp. And that's where our team will create its identity and what's the best version of itself that it can be. I don't know what that total number of wins is or will be, but we'll find out, and we'll create those goals together.
Strikes me as being not an ideal scenario, having to develop an identity later, but everybody has to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a team in college football. I haven't seen the stat where there's a single team in college football that hasn't taken a transfer. I know there were some coaches out there that started with that, you know, we're not taking transfers, and soon realized that wasn't going to be sustainable. So I think we're all trying to figure out that new process for growth and team development.
Seems like this time of year, kind of the outside expectations for everybody are kind of measured by one position, quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have a returning quarterback, high expectations, if there's uncertainty.
We lived that last year.
Yeah. Is that fair, or is it just inconsequential for you? How the outside looks at.
Oh, how the outside looks at us is inconsequential to us. I mean, unless it's used for motivation. But we have a sign when we walk into the building, and my seniors remind me constantly that ignore the noise, whether good or bad. We got to ignore the noise, and push to becoming the best version of what we can become. College football is great because every year there's players who burst onto the scene. And I think we all like what's known, and it's easy to write or predict based off what's known. It's hard to write and predict based off the unknown. But I know that we've got talented players at the quarterback position, and we're just waiting for them to show the team which one's going to be the starter. And I know we're surrounded with really good skill, a very solid offensive line, a very stout defense with 9 returning players who have 6 or more starts. So I feel confident that we will be where we need to be.
As far as the guys you brought with you here today, what do you think about them as team representatives? What was the reason for bringing the guys you did?
Well, the first thing was Martez Manuel has the best style on our team. And so when you're going to come to Atlanta, I don't know if y'all saw the jumpsuit he was wearing. What was that suit you were wearing on the plane? The dude looks like Dwayne Wade. So I figured he'd help our fashion sense. No, all 3 of these guys have represented Mizzou in the right way, and they're a representative of the programs that we're trying to build. They're all within 300 miles of campus. They've all developed while they were on our campus, and they all have leadership capabilities and have played significant roles in significant games for us in order to win. Martez is a returning captain of our team from Rockbridge High School, has been a 3-year starter, going on his 3rd year as a starter, and so a representative of our community and our university and represents it the right way. Isaiah McGuire from Tulsa Union, has grown, developed, pushed himself to become what he is now, which is, in my belief, going to be a force in the SEC at defensive end, and a guy who represents our program in the right way through leadership, through character, through work ethic. So somebody that everybody that's a representative of Mizzou can be proud of. And then Barrett, I made the joke that I think Tom Brady and Barrett Bannister are the 2 longest active players. Barrett's been playing for a long time here and very successful. And he's getting married next week, and so this was kind of our bachelor party for him. So thought we'd bring him for that. But no, leader, represents us the right way, and a representative and leader on the offensive side of the ball.
I noticed the shoes. Do you think you won the shoe game here today between the coaches?
Yeah, I don't think it was much of a contest, really. 2022 is the Chinese Year of the Tiger, and so Jacob Burkholder got me these shoes specifically for SEC Media Day, and they have those signs on the shoes, and so definitely feel like Lane walked right into a trap on that one.
Well, Eli, you were talking about waiting for the quarterback to show the rest of the offense that he's kind of the number 1 guy. Is there a point where you have to get to 1 or maybe even 2 quarterbacks to start developing chemistry and reps with the first team offense, or do you not have any kind of a deadline in mind for that?
No, I think you got to give 2 guys really the opportunity to really work on the ones, and we've kind of outlined a plan with the quarterbacks about how we're going to go about it, and don't expect everybody to rotate through with the ones. You can prove you're the starting quarterback by working with the 3s and earning your opportunity. It's not always about stats. It's about decision making and getting your group into the end zone. There's a great book called Extreme Ownership, and it talks about in Chapter 2, the boat ship, about it doesn't matter the leadership matters. It doesn't matter who's running the boat crews. The boat crews that are the most successful, if you take that leader and put it on the lowest functioning boat crews, he's going to have an impact. And so we need these quarterbacks to lead, whether it's the 3rd group, 4th group, 1st group, 2nd group. If they're getting their group in the end zone, they're demonstrating to us their ability to lead and get the most out of the rest of their teammates.
The other question at that position, obviously the MLB draft is going on right now. How closely are you monitoring that? And is there a point where you feel like, you know, okay, we're kind of in the clear as far as Sam Horn's future, or is that just going to come down
Today.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm monitoring it. I've got alerts on my phone. So, you know, if my phone blows up today while we're on the stage, then I don't think the second round's till tonight, or third round's till tonight, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. But I think once we get through tonight, we'll have a better idea of where we're at. And it's, the draft is different than it has been. You know, the player in the past, you would maybe draft a guy even though you weren't planning on signing him. They have to have an indication that they are going to sign him. So, I mean, there's a better chance than not that he won't actually get drafted per se, but that doesn't mean that he and his representation have not taken phone calls and just said that's not what we would be willing to do.
In this new world, do NIL opportunities come into play with someone, with everyone, of course, but now with someone who's looking at a signing, substantial signing bonus as well?
Yeah, I think that's a better question for the leaders of the community and the business people and the fans of the University of Missouri than it is for me. Obviously, as the head coach, I think it would be great for players and our players to get to utilize NIL to help, persuade them to stay. Obviously, not an inducement, but that's not something that I can coordinate or be banging the drum for.
How's your job changed with regards to NIL since that state law took effect?
Well, it doesn't take effect until August 28th, but my job has changed dramatically since the first day I took it till now, for a variety of reasons. And so this is just another one of those changes that you just adapt. And any task that's worthwhile is worth working for, and that's what we're working. I mean, I'm working really hard to make this place what the fans and the alumni want it to be.
Obviously, fans very excited before the season about Luther Burden. How do you keep that where it's not too much pressure on him, too much expectation on him going into a true freshman year?
I think it goes back to what we said. You got to ignore the noise. You got to be the best version of yourself. Understand there's growing pains and there's going to be development processes and there's going to be a different level of competition. There's going to be frustrations, and you got to ignore what the outside influences and people are and focus in on our team and our strength. And we got to do a good job as players, coaches, just embracing him for who he is and not putting any undue expectation on him. He's got a great group of people in that wide receiver room who can help him. Obviously, Barrett and Toski have a lot of experience and wisdom, and Dominic Lovett, coming in as a true freshman last year, can kind of relay to him some of the battles that he faced, and so I think he's got a lot of guys that he can lean on.
I heard this morning you were going to grow the Top Gun stash. When are
Yeah.
you planning on growing that?
Yeah, I'm going to do it for fall camp. Peter Burns kind of challenged me to do it. I normally just don't shave during fall camp, so I figured this year we can just go with mustache only and see what happens. I'm pretty confident it's going to be terrible. So, but that's what, fall camp is, 24/7. Coach Chiz used to say it was NFL channel football, 24/7, and that's kind of, I'm going to call it SEC Network channel football from now on, but 24/7, and so you don't shave, you just go to work and coach ball and go home and go to bed and do it again.
His call name Lightsaber?
Man, I don't know. I don't think you can give your own call names out, but it was better than Tank Top Tuesday. I mean, I don't have the physique at all to be calling myself Tank Top, so I don't know what my call name would be.
Eli, do you have any better just impression of Jack Abraham now you've been on campus a little bit, just what you've seen from him, what you're allowed to see? Yeah, we because of the new NCAA rule where you have individual skill and development, we were able to see Jack and have him throw and I've seen him in meetings and seen him run plays, and he's exactly what we expected, a guy who's got a lot of experience and is experienced in leadership and throwing the football. You're talking about a guy that DK Metcalf was one of his groomsmen in his wedding, so I mean he's obviously been around and has got a great presence about him, and look forward to him competing.
As far as Blake Baker goes, what has been your impressions of him so far? And, has he kind of set an expectation already for what he wants from this defense this year, or does that come more in fall camp?
No, I mean, he's definitely set an expectation for how he expects the defense to play. Blake is a guy that brings incredible passion and energy to the workplace every single day. He's young, he's vibrant. He definitely knows what he's looking for in this defense. He's taken a collaborative approach with Coach Smith and Coach Peeps and Coach Pogue and Coach Davis and really focused in on, okay, these were the things that we did well. This is where we got to improve. These are some things that we can do to help our players be more successful. This is how we can utilize our players' strengths. So, as a guy who's been designing and calling defenses for really the last 7 seasons, I'm excited about what he's going to do for us. And, he understands the challenges that he's facing, but he's also excited about, meeting that opportunity.
Last time we talked to all the coaches, the big thing they were saying was, building chemistry within that coaching staff. Do you feel like with all these new faces, is that chemistry has kind of been built in this offseason?
Yeah, I think there's a really good vibe, and a kind of an industrious vibe on the defensive staff and in the offensive staff and just the staffs in general. We've done on Wednesday nights we did Brotherhood and Ball, which was we had practices, and then that night we would have food trucks and play games, and all of our families were there and players were there, and I think we're just continuing to build that togetherness that you have to have in order to be successful.
Coach, going back to the fans in Columbia, kind of what have you seen for fans going into year 3, and then kind of do you see them buying in more, or kind of what are their expectations coming into this fall? Well,
I tell you what, we've raised expectations, which is good. That's what you want to do. You want to raise expectations. I mean, you're seeing the disappointments when people don't commit to come to your school, which is a good thing. It's a good sign. That means you've won a few battles, and so people have tasted that, and they want to know how come we're not getting that done all the time. And it's not just Columbia, man. I mean, we represent 6 million people, the entire state, whether it's Kansas City, St. Louis, Springfield. Was down at Table Rock Lake and recognized at one of the marinas, asking me about the season, which is something that's good. That's what we want. We want to raise the profile and raise the expectations. There's a saying, champions behave like champions long before they're champions. They have a winning standard of performance. And so that's what our fan base needs to be, and that's what, as a program and as our players, we need to expect.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of spreading yourself across out the state, how was the come home tour this summer, and then kind of do you think it was a success, and then what would you kind of do to improve that in the future?
Yeah, I mean, anytime we can go be with the fans, that's a success. Obviously, I wasn't at every one of them, and I'm sure there's always things that you can improve to improve the experience for the fans. But I enjoyed every time that I was out and got to engage with the fans and encourage them to continue to invest in our program.
As far as alumni involvement, I don't know if you got to see much of the basketball game at all. I got some football guys out there. How important is that, getting that alumni involvement, getting the fans excited? Also, how do you think they did? I don't know if you saw any of them.
Yeah, you know what? I was on vacation until Saturday afternoon, so I missed the basketball game. I heard about it. I knew that Brad and Jeremy, and I think I saw Martin Rucker was out there. I don't know any other football players that were out there. I heard that the game was 40 minutes, and it probably should have been about 18. No, I mean, it's always great to get our players back, just to reinforce that, you're a Tiger for life.
Where are you at just in terms of the health situation going into fall camp?
I'm healthy.
As far as the
vibrant,
the team,
tasted good. I haven't been sick. Get a physical, go for the season. Worked out this morning, so I feel good about myself. No, Mitchell. To be honest, we've got 2 players that will miss us a part of the season. Not sure when they'll get back. Hiron White will miss some portion of the beginning parts of the season, and Daniel Robledo will miss a certain portion of the season. Both those guys' recoveries are quicker than expected, but both will be limited, if not out, for fall camp. Kyron Montgomery just went back in and had a little bit of a cleanup on his knee, and so he'll be out maybe the first 2 weeks of fall camp. Really pushing to get Marcus Scott back. He had a pre-existing injury in his knee that we needed to clean up after spring. We're hoping for him to be full speed in fall camp, so these next 13 days are going to be really important. But other than that, Devin Butler will miss the entire season. Devin Butler, a walk-on defensive back. But those are the only long-term injuries. Knock on wood, we're as healthy as we've been.
Coach, ahead of media days last year, you mentioned wanting to work to jump into the upper echelons of the SEC. What strides do you think you made last season, both on and off the field, to do that, and what are you looking toward this year to continue that?
Yeah, obviously, we've got a long way to go as far as you can't be in the upper echelon at 3-5 SEC record, and did not finish the season the way we wanted to. But we did recruit at a high level. We are another year into our player development program, our off-season development. We did get a big win at home in overtime against Florida, and so I do think there were steps forward. There are also some serious steps backwards that have got to be improved. The home loss to Tennessee and the home loss to Texas A&M were two of the lowest moments that I've had so far at the University of Missouri, and so we've got to continue to improve in those areas.
The indoors come along very quickly. It seems like it popped up in like a
Yeah,
day.
didn't it? Yeah.
How is it to see that progress?
Yeah, that's the amazing thing about building and putting things together is for the better part of 12 months you didn't really see anything, and they were taking out an entire hill, one dump truck at a time, and then next thing you know, there's steel structures being put up, and it seems like overnight it happened, and it didn't. It takes time to build, and that's been it's been a great reminder for me.
You joked about Barrett being around forever, but it is rare to have a guy be at one program for 6 years. And what role have you seen him take on, both in the receiver room and the team as a whole?
Yeah, Barrett's done a great job of asserting himself as a leader and being a good teammate. We had a group come in and work with us this year just to help strengthen our leadership. And one of the things they identified with Barrett was it's not just enough to do all the things the right way, which he does. He attacks workouts. He has great energy. He has great body language. He does those things. But you got to bring other people with you. And so now you're seeing Barrett be more vocal, be more conscientious of asking other guys to come along with him and making sure that the Luther Burdens, the Dominic Lovitz are there, Chance Loopers are there at practice, and pushing those guys to be successful.
Eli, this latest round of realignment with Big Ten, it's like an immediate aftermath. For some reason, people were like asking, what does this mean for Missouri? Did you catch any of that? I mean, from friends.
I've been on vacation. Yeah.
But
no, I don't think it means anything.
do you think it means
for us.
anything? I mean, does it this idea that SEC and Big Ten are going to expand beyond, or they're going to change, and Missouri could switch around? Has there been any talk of that internally?
So like maybe a trade?
Yeah, if there's any impact on Missouri.
I don't know. I'll ask Greg today if he's ever thought about trading a team out of his conference. That would be a new one for us.
Right.
No, look, I'm not going to be, and I'm going to talk about this earlier, I'm not going to be the old man yelling at the clouds, right, expecting it to change. So I really don't have a whole lot of say for it, for the future of what college football is going to be. I just worry about what are the guiding principles that are guiding us in our decision-making process. And if somebody can just inform everybody on what those are, that'd be great. That's kind of what I'm looking for is what are we expecting for this student-athlete experience and guiding principles of college athletics moving forward? That to me is the biggest question. It's not amateurism, right? Please say we're beyond the hypocrisy of that moving forward if we're talking about bragging about billion-dollar TV rights and things like that. So what are those guiding principles moving forward that we're going to be aligned with? Other than that, man, I hope I'm still coaching in the SEC or wherever in 10 years when it all happens.
Does that come up in recruiting? I mean, I imagine some places a lot more than others. but
Yeah, crud, yeah. We use it to, you know, if we're recruiting against a conference, it's
it might not be as
dissolving.
stable.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you besides that. No, nobody's asked me if we're getting traded.
They asked me instead.
Yeah.
Coach, in addition to, you know, obviously looking at quarterback, you know, there's some big shoes to fill in the backfield as well with Tyler Beatty. Obviously Nate Pete came in from Stanford, and Elijah Young's been there as well. What's, you know, impressed you, and what are you looking forward to seeing from those guys in terms of filling that hole?
Yeah, we got Cody Schrader, we got Michael Cox, we got B.J. Harris, we got Taj Butts, we got Tavares Jones, we got Chris Cray. That Duke group is incredibly deep. They work extremely hard. You know, we have what we call Edger of the Week, which is a guy who just works and trains on the edge and does the things the right way. And the entire running back room was the Edgers of the Week 2 weeks ago, just because that room is so dedicated to their craft. I think for all of us, the reminder is that this year, time last year, you were asking me if Tyler Beatty was any good or not, and how he was going to replace Larry Roundtree. So, you know, that's the beauty of college football, is the opportunity for somebody to step up and create value for themselves through the way they play. And I know that these guys have really put in the work to seize whatever opportunity that they're given. And I do know that there are plenty of guys capable.
Eli, you mentioned talking to fans that'd be disappointed about commitments. Was it maybe you get 2 top 20 classes, get a lot of really good players in state? Was there maybe a thought that, hey, this would be easy going forward? And how are you processing dealing with that now?
Absolutely. I mean, for myself, I thought it would be easier. But you got to remind yourself you're going against some great programs and you're recruiting against the best, and you got to continue to go get results. And no different than a loss, you go in, you evaluate what happened, where we're behind, what we didn't do great, and how do we improve moving forward. Game's not over yet. Signing day's not over yet. So I would just tell the fans, you know, I got a tweet this morning that said we need some more commitments. We need people to sign, all right? And signing day's the 3rd Wednesday in December. So we'll do our jobs. We'll do our jobs.
What's it say about each of the guys you brought here today that they've really stuck around through coaching change, COVID year, sort of wild college career, really?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are rare breeds in college football, right? 6-year, homegrown, player developed. You know, could have got frustrated with their roles earlier, but chose not to. Just chose to keep working, and they're going to reap those rewards and benefits.
Anything else for Coach Drink? Thank you, sir. If you all stay right where you are, I'm just going to rotate our people right in, except for you, Coach. You can get out of there.
I'm out.